Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's clickbait, but it's not. The waistcoat I'm about to show you is from the early to mid 1770s. So, in fact, it is older than the United States of America, which of course, as we all know, had their little uprising and became a country in 1776. Now, to put that in context, the Marquis de Lafayette was 18 years old at the time. Alexander Hamilton was 21. King George III was 38. And Napoleon was just 7 years old. This gives you some sort of historical context as to what was going on in the world, politically, socio-economically, but also gives you context of actually how old these great historical figures were during this point in history. But enough about dead white men. Let's have a look at this waistcoat, shall we?
Let's pause for some ASMR. Waistcoat! Okay, this is the right front panel, the button side. Lovely pretty outside. But here is the inside. Up where my hand is, you can see a little bit of piecing where they've saved on fabric. This long piece of single plain weave linen is called the button stand. And here is the pocket bag and linen supports. Let's count the buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Unlucky for some, but good for this waistcoat because it's lasted so long. These buttons are embroidered blank and then covered over little moulds out of wood or bone, sometimes ivory, even cardboard. Here you've got stitching in order to keep the collar in place, and then excess embroidery put around the top to give it a bit more pizzazz. There's another one of the buttons. See, what's interesting is you can see throughout that they can't decide whether they put them up, the flowers pointing up, or across the side. But the design down the front is meant to look like sort of lace embroidery, and it's a form of embroidery called tambour, coupled with a sort of plain single satin stitch. Overall, this is a fairly simple waistcoat in terms of embroidery, and the stitching at the far end you can see is where the button stand is stitched down all the way along with sprigs of flowers, and then you have the pocket bag. Wow, nice little detail there. You can see the tambour embroidery. Zoom in. Zoom in. Yeah, camera troubles, but it was good fun. It's quite a nice effect. But what I find absolutely stunning is that after 200 years, look at how vibrant the colours are. Look at that, the detail. The fact this waistcoat was never made. So here we have the Buckram and the button stand. The Buckram is the white thing underneath the brown thing. So I can show you a little bit more about that in the future, and when I make one I can show you the processes. But this is obviously a part-made garment, which is incredibly useful for research. And on the right, you can see all the embroidery stitches. Now here we come to the pocket bag and the support. So all the way along, it's supported by linen, so it's not pulling on the fine silken embroidery of the waistcoat. Nice little pocket bag, all from plain linen. And here we can see the back of the embroidery. A total mess, but that doesn't matter. See, and you can see where they've clipped the edges to make the linen pocket bag run nice and smooth. You can just see the buckram behind there, helping it keep shape. The button stand is double width and then folded, with the folded edge put against the far side in order to give strength and support to the buttons. What buttons, you say? these buttons, and you can see how they're attached on the back. I'll do a video about button making at one point, don't you worry. And then the button stand buckram is just whip stitched to the top. But this gives you an idea of the fabric count. Thread count, sorry. See? Now here we have the left side, the button side. Now this one just has the buckram on the inside, no button stand, because there doesn't need to be because there's no buttons. And interestingly, a piece of silk twill has been used, with the selvage being utilised. With stitching down the outside, so that is basically a completely finished edge. More piecing at the top, same as the other side, with rows of stitching at the top of the collar to help support the garment. The buttonholes are surrounded by embroidered bits of tambour work, giving more strength and a decorative flourish. The design of silk velvet chenille goes all the way down in stripes, which was extremely popular at this point in history. And once again, more sprigs and beautifulness. Isn't that amazing? Just so colourful. Makes everything look so dull now, doesn't it? Lovely roses. And then no embroidery where you don't need it. Things that are hidden by the coat, no need. Let's look inside the pocket bag, shall we? Here you can see that the colour of the silk hasn't really changed, but along this edge you can see the interfacing of the pocket flap itself. The inside of the pocket bag being the linen, of course, the stitching and the securing stitching connecting the pocket bag to the pocket, to the waistcoat, to everything. More details of the silk stitching and embroidery. The chenille looking like a line of hungry caterpillars. This is how it would look buttoned up. Of course, it can't be buttoned up because it's not finished. Now, this is the selvage I was talking about. So this is the very edge of the fabric. You have the same thing nowadays. And if you go to particularly fancy silk suppliers, they'll have that. And this is the buckram. This gives support and shaping to the garment, as well as helping support the buttonholes themselves. And the stitching down the outside. Rather than cutting a weirdly shaped angle, there's just another piece just plopped on the bottom. And you can see the buckram go underneath. And the pocket bag support going all the way along. And underneath the pocket bag, you can see more of the back of the embroidery, as well as the shape of the pocket bag. It's not just a flat square, in this case, unlike the other side. It curves around. And here's the buckram, and you can see how it's sewn down and how the layers work together. On top of this, for example, would go the button stand on the other side. See, small little stitches, just keeping it in place. Nothing heavy duty, just keeping it where it belongs. And you can see the full vibrancy of the colours used in the embroidery in the background. Little details of the embroidery. Maybe someone can give it a go. Maybe I might give it a go. Here we have the bottom, and where it's been pressed for so long, the silk's finally split. If this was made into a garment, it's likely this wouldn't happen. It's the fact that this has sort of been left without any lining, and has been left to the elements. And of course, just check out that lovely linen, and of course hand-stitched linen all the way along. The garment's sewn together with silk and linen threads.
Hello everyone, and thank you for watching part 1 of my waistcoat examination, as it were. So, today I'll be making a cocktail. I'll be making the Espresso Martini. Trust me, it's really nice. So what you will need is ice, some coffee beans for decoration and garnish, because that makes sense. Coffee liqueur Kahlua, toffee vodka, and then of course espresso. Make it. I'm going to put my ice in my cocktail shaker. Oh yeah, you'll need a cocktail shaker. A glass. With the power of editing, I can make one appear. So first thing, you take your ice and you put it in your cocktail shaker. 2 ounces of espresso. 2 ounces of coffee Kahlua. 2 ounces of the toffee vodka. 3. Or as much as you want to sort of to taste. You shake it. See, if I had the rights, I'd put on, you know, Shake Sonora. You're just going to assume that playing over this is shake, shake, shake Sonora. Shake it all the time. Okay. Now that's good and frothy. Ha ha ha. I'm going to put this down on a level surface. And then you get your 3 coffee beans, because this totally makes sense. And you garnish them on top. Because you know what I like in a cocktail? Something completely inedible. Cheers. Oh, that's good. What cocktail should I make next time? Comment down below and do the liking, subscribing thing. It's YouTube, you know what to do. Bye.